All right, welcome everyone to this brief webinar on the HTTPS protocol and some changes coming to NCBI Web Services. My name is Eric Sayers. I'll be talking to you for a few minutes today about what these changes are and what you can expect and what you should do. I'm here with my colleague Peter Cooper, who will be monitoring the questions during the webinar, and we'll try to get to as many of them as we can. So what we're going to be talking about today are some upcoming changes to the way that NCBI receives web service requests. And this primarily has to do with a protocol called HTTPS, which is essentially secure HTTP. It's something that has been around for some time and is becoming more popular for a variety of reasons. We'll talk a little bit about what some of those are. So what we're going to try and do this afternoon is talk about why we're doing this, because we have to. This is a federal mandate for all websites maintained by the federal government. Some of the benefits that we get from using HTTPS, and then what's actually happening at NCBI in particular, and what would be the consequences for you or your users, customers that are using software products that you're making, etc. And perhaps most interesting to you, what should you do now? What do you need to do to respond to these changes? What can you expect in the future? And then some details. So I'm going to talk very generally about this. I'm not going to get into a lot of technical detail. We're going to have some additional web pages that will be going up very soon, hopefully this week, that will describe more of the detail that you might need to be aware of. And I'll give you, of course, some contact information at the end if you do have additional questions that you can get in touch with us. So the reason why we're doing this is because we were told to by the Office of Management and Budget. This is a federal office that controls a variety of things but does supervise the web presence of the federal government. You can find out more about this going to https.cio.gov at the top of this page. And it talks to you about the HTTPS only standard that is now being rolled out throughout the federal government. And this was a announcement that was made actually about a year ago in June of 2015 that all federal agencies must make all of their current existing websites and services available and accessible through HTTPS only protocols by the end of this calendar year, by December 31st, 2016. So that's the challenge, that's the mandate that we have, and so that is the reason why these changes are coming about. And just FYI, of course, this means that any other government website that you're dealing with is going to have to do these same changes as well. So it certainly is not limited to NCBI or NLM or NIH or anything like that. Why are we doing this? Why is the government and many other private enterprises switching to HTTPS? Well, for a large number of reasons, only a few of which I've outlined here. HTTPS encrypts all of the web traffic between the server and client, so you now have a encrypted transfer of information which gives you heightened privacy and security. So using HTTPS provides not just privacy and security, but a consistent level of privacy and security across all federal websites. All of the data that is transferred during these transactions maintains its own privacy, and it prevents various kinds of attacks. So it prevents, for example, unknown websites or websites that are trying to hack into various sites from masquerading as federal sites. So it protects the public from other sites that are trying to pretend that they might be NCBI or NLM. It also prevents the injection of malware into web traffic. So if someone was to intercept web traffic between the server and the client, then they could, under HTTP, inject code potentially into that traffic, and the user wouldn't be aware of that. And that malware would then appear to have come from the trusted site that they're trying to get information from. This is an obvious problem, and HTTPS does eliminate many of those kinds of concerns. There's a variety of other reasons that you might explore on the web about HTTPS, but those are a few of the ones that make the most impact. So what's happening at NCBI? There's a couple of things. So in September, at the end of September, if you have a GET or HEAD request, now I'll talk a little bit about what those are in a minute, those are going to be redirected to HTTPS if they come over HTTP. So an example there is if you load a PubMed article over HTTP, after September 30th, that URL will be automatically redirected to HTTPS and then the same URL. So the protocol will be switched automatically for you. So if you are accessing NCBI using a web browser, you really don't have to do much at all. This will happen automatically. You might see a variety of these little icons. There's a green lock icon in some browsers, other icons that indicate to the user that you're now over a secure transaction or a secure session, HTTPS. But that's essentially all that you probably would notice. So not much has to be done if you're simply accessing NCBI over the web. Many API requests also will not have problems with this if they are simply providing GET requests or head requests, which basically means a URL. So if you're using the utilities or something like that, and it's simply a URL that you're posting, that will automatically get redirected to HTTPS also. But if you are using HTTP post and you're providing a request, and these are mainly, again, for API users like the utilities, those will be rejected after September 30th with a status 403. They simply cannot be converted to HTTPS if they're submitted over HTTP. So if you have processes that are submitting requests using HTTP post, it's a problem and it needs to be changed so that those can be done over HTTPS. That's one of the major things that we see as a potential problem for developers and users out there. So that's one to be aware of. So the consequences. If you're only using a web browser, again, you probably don't need to do anything, right? So, or if you have clients that are simply using or accessing NCBI web pages over browsers, it's not a big deal. This will automatically redirect. But I would recommend if you link to us, if you have web pages that do have links to NCBI, change them to HTTPS links, right, in your HTML code. It's just better practice, and that way there's no redirection that needs to happen. But it's not a requirement. If you have HTTP links, they'll be redirected for you. Most web browsers, again, will handle these 301 redirects elegantly, and it's not a problem. If you are using an API, so these are the utilities, could be the BLAST URL API, any other API that NCBI provides, your request may fail after September 30th. And in general, it's going to be hard for us to predict all the different kinds of failures that may happen. It depends a lot on how you have set up your API calls. But we know that if you're using HTTP post, you will have problems. So again, as I said, that's the thing to worry most about. It's possible that the mechanisms that you're using to call the APIs may not handle 301 redirects properly. So the best thing to do is not even risk the redirects, but just change the protocol, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But those are the things to be most concerned about. So what should you do? Change the protocol. All right, so if you are accessing any NCBI website or any NCBI service or any API calls to NCBI over HTTP, change the protocol to HTTPS. And all you have to do is just replace HTTP with HTTPS. That's it. Right? All of the other parts of the URL stay the same. You should know that all web services, right, our web services online, PubMed, BLAST, all of the sequence databases, all of Entree, all of the web pages, as well as all of our APIs, the utilities, BLAST URL API, everything works over HTTPS today. So there's no reason you can't change in 5 minutes. Just do it now. All right, so everything works. There shouldn't be a problem, and just switch it immediately and start to use HTTPS. Now, we understand that that is not possible for everyone. It's going to take some time to update code, code bases, other kinds of software packages that might be out there. That's why we're trying to get the word out as quickly as we can before the September 30th deadline. Now, you might be asking yourself, why September 30th versus December 31st? The federal deadline is December 31st. NLM's internal deadline is September 30th. So we're trying to get this done early so that we can fix problems before the federal mandate takes effect. So one thing that you can do if it's not possible to change all of your code before that time, or you're not sure how much of a problem you might be in, we have set up some test servers. So I've put the URLs to these test servers on the screen. These are currently live, and you can direct traffic over HTTP to these servers and test your code. So if you get a return from these servers, you're okay. All right? So your code is handling the redirect properly. That's not to say that you should not change to HTTPS. These redirection servers will not be up there indefinitely. These are a crutch, essentially, to help you test now, and they will be going away at the end of the calendar year when we cannot accept HTTP requests anymore. So, but these are things that you can use now to see how things work. So if you are accessing a web page, for example, you can use the first one over http://https.ncbi.nlm.nih.gov. So then any other URL that you would normally have as going to www.ncbi, you can now go to https.ncbi and test. If you're accessing the eUtilities, right, there's HTTP eUtils redirect, right? So simply place that URL instead of eutils.ncbi and then your normal URL, and if that works, you're in good shape. All right, blast redirect, that's for the blast URL API. So those are 3 test servers that are alive right now, and you can begin testing. So I'd highly recommend that you try those out if you have any questions about whether or not your code might work or not. So those are 2 things. Change it if you can. Change it as quickly as you can to HTTPS everything. Search, replace, just get it done. If you have questions, try these test servers and see what's going on. Now, very soon, we are going to be releasing some more details about this that will be available on the web. I'm going to show you what these pages will look like. Hopefully, they're going to go live this week, and then you'll be able to look at them directly. There is a page that will provide full guidance. The link to that page is at the top of the screen. It's not live yet, but it will be. There's also a develop page and an API page that are currently live on our site. They're going to be updated with links to that new page, giving you all of those guidance details. So I'm going to show you what those pages are now, but before I leave this slide, I just want to again emphasize that we're here to help. If you have questions about this, if you're concerned about this, write to info@ncbi. Please describe as much as you can what your situation is, and we'll try to give you some good advice about how you can proceed to accommodate these changes. So on the NCBI homepage, there is a develop link. I've circled it here in red. That is a page that we have designed particularly for developers, people who are using our APIs or toolkits to build software. It's a really good page to know about. If you don't know about it, hopefully you do now. It's a good page to advertise to friends and colleagues who want to keep track of what's going on at NCBI regarding toolkits, APIs, etc. Clicking that link, when the new pages go out, again, I will emphasize these are not live right now, but these will be coming live. There's going to be a link. You can see it up in the upper right. NCBI goes HTTPS only starting September 30th. Get more details. If you click that thing, it's going to take you to this page that has all of the details on it. Also on this develop page and on the live version of this page, there is a link to APIs. So there's a separate API page that has details about various of our APIs. It also has the same ad over here. It will have that ad, which will get you to this page. So I'll show you that new page now. And again, most of what's on this page I've already told you. So there's not a great deal of information here except some links, a little bit more discussion. But the bottom line stuff that we've already talked about is essentially what this page is trying to show. A couple of things on the page. We have tried to be in contact with a variety of services, BioJava, BioPython, BioPerl, etc. Many of these organizations already are aware that these changes are occurring. Many of these libraries are already working fine, but you can track those issues there. We're continuing to try and be aware of other communities that need to update their code to HTTPS. Again, please contact us if you have questions about this or other information that you'd like us to be aware of. If you keep scrolling down on this page, there's a few other points I just wanted to highlight. And again, you've got this information in the PowerPoint slides. You can take that and take a look at it. again, after September 30th, everything is going to either be redirected or rejected. So it's either going to be redirected to HTTPS or it's going to be an error condition. So those HTTP post requests, for example, are going to get 403 forbiddens. All right, so that's a real issue, so please be aware of that. Again, check your API stuff. Just check it. It needs to be tested so that you make sure that it's actually going to work after the redirection and after the HTTPS only world that we're going to be in 2017. So when you look down here again, these test servers are detailed and discussed in the little table there. I've already told you about those, so there's not a lot of new information there, but those are set up for your benefit. All right, so that's basically what I have to say. So do the tests, do the changes. Please let us know if you have questions about it or any other concerns. So I'll be quiet at the moment. Let Peter know, let the question pod know if you do have questions about this, and we'll discuss.
Okay, Eric, I answered many of them by typing. There's a couple that I didn't answer. I'm not sure I completely understand some of them. One of them is, I want to know if the test servers will internally switch them over to HTTPS. I'm not quite sure what that means. Maybe you have a better idea what that means.
So what the test servers do, and you can try this out just in a web browser, is they simply do the redirection for you, all right? And so it simulates what will happen after September 30th. So I'm not exactly sure precisely what you might mean by an internal redirection, but if you mean internal to NCBI, yes. So the HTTP request will come into us. We will redirect that to an HTTPS equivalent and send that response back to you. So if your code is not able to handle the redirect, that will fail. If you are able to handle that redirect, then it'll be fine. Right now, there are no redirects happening, so you can submit HTTP requests to the eutils and BLAST, and they'll function normally. They'll just come back to you as standard status 200s. But once September 30th happens, that will no longer be the case. You'll be redirected. And so to simulate that redirect, point something towards those test servers, and you'll get the same 301 redirect that will happen after September 30th.
Okay, we have another question about proxy servers that automatically change the URL.
We are looking into some of these now. My best advice is to do the testing. So if you have a proxy server, try and submit those requests to these test servers and see what happens. And let us know if there are challenges that you have with that, or if you're not getting things to work. We have already been in contact with EasyProxy. Those discussions are ongoing right now. We should be able to get something worked out where you'll have appropriate certificates set up for EasyProxy to work. If that's something, or other proxy services like that are concerns for you, please let us know and we'll give you some additional guidance.
Okay, we have one more thing, and I'm not sure we can really address this in the webinar, but I just will put it out there. So somebody has requested that they wondered if it's possible for us to extend our deadline, since the federal mandate is December, because they have software and they can change their code, but the customer support might not get it out to the people in time. And I don't know if we can comment on that or not, but I'll let you decide on that one.
So if you read this document that I have up there on the screen, there is a little part of it that talks about how after September 30th, we may open up some blackout periods or something like that, where we'll stop doing the redirect for a little temporary time period, and we will publicize what those time periods will be. We realize that folks that are trying to change software, this is a challenge. It's a little bit of tight timing. We appreciate that. Part of the reason for the September 30th is just to make sure that everyone is aware that problems exist. So if you know that there's going to be a problem, you can try and get it changed before December 31st. So if you have software that really looks like you're not going to be able to change it before the end of the year, please let us know. We'll try and work with you. We do plan to have some open windows between in October through December, where we might relax the redirect from time to time, all right, just to make sure that people can confirm that things are working. So if you do have concerns, let us know. We can't help you if we don't know, but if you do let us know, we'll try and work with you to see what we can do.
Eric, I was paying attention to the question pod. So this page that you showed, is there a URL to this? Was that on a link on one of the slides? The one here at the end?
Yes. There is a URL. Let me go back up in the slides here.
Somebody asked to see that again.
So on this slide, and again, this will be something that will be available to you. It's available on the FTP site now from the materials link. The top URL is the URL to that page. Again, it's not live right now, but hopefully this week it should be up. So www.home/develop/https-guidance.shtml. So that's where it should be. You guys are getting a little bit of advance warning today with the webinar, so I've tried to copy most of that page onto the PowerPoint, so at least you can get a sense of what you're going to be seeing.
Eric, can you show the NCBI homepage and just show them how to get to the webinars and courses page? Because I think a lot of people want these slides, and although we had the link at the beginning, it might be a little difficult to get that. So if we just show them how to navigate, they'll be in the archive section by tomorrow.
In the NCBI homepage, go to Learn, which is over here on the right. Then on the Learn page, scroll down underneath the image. There's going to be a Webinars and Courses link. This is a general link that takes you to a page that summarizes all of the different webinars and courses that we have going on. So right now, if you scroll down, you'll see the one that you're watching right now on July 27th. There are no materials links at the moment, but very soon after this webinar, as Peter was indicating, this will migrate to the archived webinars and courses tab, which is up here at the top of the table. I'll go ahead and go there now just to show you, for example, like yesterday, there was another webinar. There's a link over here to materials. So that link, materials, takes you to our FTP site where you can download the PowerPoint PDF of the presentation. So that's where it will be. Another place, if you want to get to it right now, which you can because it's on the FTP site right now, if I go back up to the very first slide here, although this isn't as fun to copy down, but http://bit.ly/2, then lowercase aq6, lowercase h, uppercase r. That URL will take you to the FTP site into the directory where the slides are.
I just sent that link out to the entire audience in chat. I'm not sure what that looks like on your end, but I think you should see it. Also, Eric, is there that page that's not live yet? Do you know where that's going to be linked, and can you show them where that will appear?
So let me go back to what I'll do is I'm just going to step through the slides one more time. I think this will be a little bit easier just because I've highlighted some things. Here's the NCBI homepage. Where it will be is if you go down to Develop. All right, so this is again the page that we have for developers and API stuff. If you click that link, what you will see once the page is live is this page. Now this page is live right now, but it does not have this ad. The ad up in the upper right about HTTPS only is not visible currently. When the page goes out later this week, this ad will appear. Click that and you'll get to the page that we've been talking about with all the details on it.
So the recording, someone else asked about the recording. The recording will be uploaded, and that'll it depends on how long it takes to get captioning and things like that, but it should be within probably a week and a half or something like that. And it will be on our YouTube channel. Just look for NCBI NLM in YouTube.
All right, so I think what we'll do at this point is close the webinar. We have some other questions that have come into the questions pod. We'll be addressing those, and as we talked about at the beginning of the webinar, we will put answers to those questions up with the materials, so you'll be able to see those. And so if you do have a question that hasn't been addressed yet, please check back with the materials. And we'll send out some additional information just to remind you where all of those things are to all of the people who've attended. All right, thank you very much, and I'll be signing off.